Hi, Joe here over at woollycottage.com. This week I'll be doing a version of a Patreon video that you'll be watching. It's an hour long that's over in Patreon, and it starts with a spinning section. What you're going to see this week for the YouTube channel is the dyeing section. And then there's an actual synopsis afterwards that you won't actually get to see, which I do apologise, but you might see it later on down the line, maybe next year. For this is just for you, you're getting a short and edited version. At least once a month you'll get these different, maybe the start, the middle, the end, whatever. But yeah, so what you're going to see now is me dyeing up some hand spun yarn and some mill spun yarn. If you want to see the full episode of that video and you don't want to wait till next year, then please do pop over and join my small community over on Patreon. It's Patreon Woolly Cottage. You'll find the link in the description. Yeah, it's a nice tiny little community over there. It's £3 a month. You can pay. I have set it up so you can do a 6-month plan as well if you want to give it a 6-month trial and see how you go with that. The first 7 days are free over my Patreon, and then from the first day that you joined you'll be billed exactly the same time the following month. As I've said before, if you've got an iOS, an iPhone or an iPad, do not download the Patreon app via your phone or your iPad. You'll have to go onto a search engine and find Patreon that way and log in via a search engine, because the Apple App Store add a fee on top of what you pay to the content creators over in Patreon, and that add-on fee is nothing to do with Patreon platform at all. It's something that Apple Store have started doing with quite a few apps over the last year or two. Right, so now we've got the housework out of the way. I hope you enjoy this video. It's not massively long, but it's nice to give you some ideas of how to layer out colours. If you want to see what the end result was, as I say, you're going to have to go over to Patreon for that. The yarns are now up on the website. Oh, sorry, not now. They will be tomorrow. Up on the website on Sunday to purchase if you want to. And I am using Shetland wool this week. And this is a theme that will be going on for the next 12 months. Okay, so you'll have a proper video later on in the week. So I hope you enjoy that one. That's about preparing mill blended rovings. So that's going to be interesting to watch that and spin those examples up for you. So catch you next week on the next video, and I hope you enjoy this one. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and like, and any comments, questions, queries, put them down below. It really does help this channel be promoted via YouTube. If you want to support me in any other way, if you can't go onto Patreon as a commitment, you can always go over to my website at www.woollycottage.com and go and purchase something over there. Okay, so I'm going. Bye. Okay, so I've managed to squeeze all 5 skeins in this. Ideally, I think because I'm using hand spun, I would have A, been better off using a separate tray for the hand spun, or B, only doing 200 grams of skeins. But because of the yardage I was getting, I thought, and the fact that ideally I'm putting it on the website, I wanted to make sure that there was more than enough yarn there in yardage for someone to create a project, as I'd be selling them together. I suppose I could have done 2 skeins and you've ended up with 240 yards, but I thought the 3 skeins together, it makes a nice bundle set. Anyway, I've got them all in the tray and I'm going to start laying them in. So I'm just going to add some extra water in here. They've been sat soaking in the sink for half an hour or so. More than enough time for them to do stuff. I've put citric acid on the top and I'm just going to squeeze that down. I didn't want to put a lot of water in there because I've got quite a lot dye stock solution going in. So I'm going to start with apple green. So I'm going to go down this end and I'm going to pour it right over the top like so, and I may add in some more water in a moment. Then I have got this blue, I think I'll definitely be adding in more water. And then I have got midnight blue up the top here, because ideally what I want is for it to wash together. So I'm just going to put in another extra cup of water. I don't want it to overflow, you see, because I've still got 3 more pots of water to go in here. But obviously the yarn is soaking up every splodge of moisture that I've got going. So I'll just pop that down there and we'll give this a good squelch. There we go. Try and get the coverage on this yarn. So we've got midnight blue. Oh, is that indigo? I think this is indigo. I'm trying to get them to the bond together in the tray. Ah, there we go. And then I'm going to turn the water on for a heat, and then I'm going to flip it over once the water cools back down again. So we're going to go with that for now. So we've got 2 tones of blue on that side and a green. It's already got citric acid on, as I say, and we just want to bring the water up to a nice heat, but we don't want it bubbling and we don't want it spitting. I'm trying to find an old towel to wipe my hands with. Okay, so we're just going to let that do its thing. Okay, so I'm just flipping the tray around a little bit just so that the heat can reach into this section of the yarn. I'm not sure how this is going to turn out, but you know what? It's all about experimenting. It seems that the dye is obviously sitting right on the bottom here, which is not where I want it. I want it up here, because the whole point is to add, I want 4 shades of blue, or a purpley blue, blues, turquoise, and sort of peachy colour to go down this end. But the dye stock saturation has gone completely here, so that's fine. But my blue, yeah, that one's struck. Green's nearly struck, but my midnight blue is having a right old moment with itself. Well, my indigo, it's still got lots of colour in it, I think. Where we are? No, it's nearly clear. I think it was just one area. There we go. It's an area over here that's got a bit of blue in it. So I need that to saturate a little bit more. This looks like it's struck, which means I need to, in a moment, turn off the heat and let it cool down, so I can flip it over, and I'll stick you back on when I do that. But it's far too hot for me to touch at the moment. But yeah, I need that to strike a little bit more in that corner. So I think I'm going to have to turn that around like that, so it strikes over this side. This side's all clear in the tray, well, nearly all clear. But this is what it's all about, isn't it? It's about me having a play so you guys can see, or you might spot a mistake, or you might do it differently. Then you can put it in the comments, and then by the end of the year we'll have perfected this and we'll know exactly what we're doing. So the first thing that I will point out is, remember, all I did was soak the freshly hand spun wool in the sink. So maybe that's where the problem has arisen. Maybe in the next one that I do next month in February, we maybe pre-wash this and thwack it so it elongates it and felts the wool a little bit more, so it's got a bit more structure to it. Maybe that's what we'll do next time. So those are questions that we need to have a think about for improving the way that the dye takes to hand spun yarn. And that's what this experiment's about. And I hope you enjoyed this next 12 episodes over here on Patreon about how we put these together. Yeah, so that's where I'm at now. So I'm just letting that dye strike in there. I'm going to let this cool down. It'll probably take about 40 minutes or so for me to touch it. And then we'll... Where are we at? Is it any better? Yeah, it's getting there. It's getting there. We're nearly struck all the way through on that. It's clear on that side. We just need to get this bit to do as it's told. That's fine. That's not a problem. Oh, I better flip that over. I don't want that melting in the heat. Yeah. So I'll catch you in a minute once this is cooled down, and when I'm going to flip it over, I'll come back and have a word. So I'm just flipping these over, just literally turn them around. I'll just twist my tongs around so I know that that's the front and that's the back, and then pop them back in and try and get them in the uniform alignment that they were in to start with. Okay, so that's really what you want to try and do. You're just trying to make sure that when you put your next colouring on, that they've got their alignment colourway all matching. And then here's one of the hand spun yarns sections. I'll just pull that because it's trapped underneath the other one. Twist my yarn around, flip it about. There we go. So I know that the indigo is seeped through quite a bit on here, but that's all right because we've got midnight blue going on next, which is quite a bold colour. So that's what we're going to be working with. So we've got turquoise going on next, and we've got a peach going in next, which I know sounds a little bit odd, but we're working with it, right? This is what we're working with. This is what I'm doing. So I'm going to put my turquoise through the middle here. Okay. And then I'm going to put my midnight blue up the top here. Mind, we've still got water in the thingy, in the base, and I'm going to put my peach up here. Now I'm going to fill my cups up a little, just add a bit more water to help dilute that down a bit. I'll just use some water at the tap. There's midnight blue. Try and break that down a bit more, and then a bit more of the turquoise, and add a bit more water to context into the bottom of here because I want to zhuzh it about a bit, and we want these colours to sort of blend in together. There we go. Don't need to put any more citric acid in there because there's plenty anyway. There we go. Just need to push that down, and then that one down so the colours strike. I want to try and avoid having any bold sections in there. Yeah, so that's what we're going with now, and we're just going to let that heat pick up a little bit because we obviously put cold water in there, and let that strike through. If you're watching this dissection now, if you would like to see the results of this colourway, you can go over to Patreon and watch the full video and about the experiments that we're doing over the next 12 months. A bit more detail, then please go over. You can join as a member for £3, as little as £3 a month, and come and join over in our community. Put in your questions, any queries or any thoughts, any ideas or anything like that. You can come over and join us over there. £3 a month is not a lot of pennies. I know it's a lot for some people, but it just helps me to be able to produce more videos and more valid content and a lot more discussion topics, and actually maybe delve into a few more different crafts that might be more down your niche, but you're just curious about what we're up to here today. Then please do come over and join us. So for now, I'll say goodbye, and I will catch you next week with a spinning video that I'm planning. Thanks very much. Okay, Patreon lot. So here we go. So we're just going to let this simmer away, do its own little thing. It'll take about 10 minutes, if that, usually. I've actually double spooned my citric acid in there. I wanted to make sure it was a little bit stronger to strike in. And now what I love about the Shetland wool is it gives a lovely, once it's dried, it gives a really lovely dusky look. It's the word muted, maybe. You've got bold colours and the dye strikes it really lovely, but it's more of a dusky, muted sort of characteristic to the yarn. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this goes. We'll catch back with you in a second. Do you want to see washing it? It's not really does anything. I filled up this sink at the moment with some extra warm water, roughly about 40 degrees. This is obviously going to be a lot hotter while it's in here, so it'll cool down pretty quickish, and then I'll stick in the spinner, which is no problem, and then I'll dry it. So I think what I'll do is I will catch you for a synopsis once this is dried tomorrow. Yeah, I think that's probably the best bet once we take this out and you can see the results of it. I'll put some pictures on of the process that I'm doing now. Look at my finger. The pictures of take them out the tray, sticking them in the sink, those sort of things. Those are things you've seen me do lots of times before, but if I do any more, then this video is going to take forever. And then I'll get the fire lit and put the yarns in front of the fire, and I will catch you tomorrow and you can have a look at the results, and I will put my thoughts down and I'll let you know what the price difference and equivalent is of creating this yourself at home. Okay.
Centre where he will be as even just behind me. But as all of the additional great power rivalry with China, the war in Ukraine, the situation in Gaza, the war that we saw last year with Iran, and then the process that we promised. Instead of talking about England and NATO, a threat to NATO and how the Europeans are going to deal with its own threat.
Remember, the president campaigned on releasing the Epstein files. He didn't want to release them. He had his Attorney General say that they didn't exist. Then he had to admit that they existed. Marjorie Taylor Greene gone from the Congress as a result of this whole thing. And yet only 2% of the Epstein files have actually been released. And so when you're inducting the president of Venezuela, we're going to talk about that more than the Epstein files. If you're potentially suggesting no military strike against a NATO ally in their sovereign territory, we'll focus on that. So to me, this is part of the strategy. It's certainly a distraction. But what I worry about is he continues to escalate these types of distractions and continues to escalate this rhetoric. At some point, somebody's going to look around and say, okay, we have to turn the Virginia back at the United States. We're going to ratchet up the tariffs. There'll be $180 billion catastrophe for the American consumer or for American businesses trying to enter the European market. And that's just very, very bad for everybody. So, what I'm always curious about, and no one ever gets there as a journalist, is what is the end game? What is the vision that you have? And they ask him what the philosophy is of MAGA. He said something very interesting. He said it's whatever he wants.